Okay, so you're really not gonna be able to see me. I am doing an analysis on or I'm doing let me see, a formal analysis on this painting by Vladimir Baranov Rossiné. Hope I said his name correct. And the name of the painting is called Adam and Eve. And I think we all know the story of Adam and Eve. But before I do the technical part of the formal analysis, I'm going to, is there a way that I can hide this? I'm going to, actually, let me just move it over. Okay, no, can't do that. What is this? Can I move this? No, I can't. I'm going to just do a really quick scan, just looking at the picture here. So this is the picture, and I got it tilted a little bit, and that's just because I'm trying not to show the map. Let me do it this way. Do it like that. Okay. This is what I'm analyzing here. So, just from basic observation here, I don't see a lot of skill. That's the first thing that I notice. And I'm not saying that with any disrespect or anything. I don't see a lot of skill in the painting. But that's not a bad thing. Because what I see here is I see actually, let me turn the camera around. I can't do that. Okay. What I see here is it looks like a freestyle, right? It looks like somebody, I got this camera doing all kinds of, oh Lord. It looks like an artist who had an idea and they just wanted to get this idea on paper. Because I've done freestyle work before, it reminds me of paintings that I've done. It's not very symmetrical, and actually, let me do myself a favor and try to make it straight, because I could be critiquing or analyzing the symmetry, and I could be wrong in my analysis here because it's not straight, but I don't want, I'm gonna back out a little bit. I don't want that map in the way. Okay. All right. I see what I have noticed in my own work, and that's like an off balance. So there's a lot of circles. Oh, you can't even see it. I shouldn't have did it this way. There's a lot of circles. I think I'm just gonna turn this around. Where the circles are, or where you kind of see like these arches, they're not straight. And no matter which angle I look at it from, if I kind of slightly tilt to the side, some of the circular arches, like especially at the very, very top where there's purple, there's that like violet looking purple, there's that like kind of bluish greenish kind of, yeah, I guess you would say like bluish greenish circle. Where is that? Whoa. I wonder if that's the depiction of the serpent, because it looks kind of scaled, but it also looks like it's wrapping around, like it's coiling around. So that could be the depiction of the serpent. I didn't catch that when I first looked at it. But anywho, the circles, like the width of the circle, or like the arch where there's kind of like that red and purple, and I'm going from the circular piece, from the red and purple to the bluish green to the violet, kind of royal bluish, 3 little arches. They're not the same width from one side to the next. Like I said, I also don't see a lot of technique in the painting. I've seen other oil paintings, so I do know that technique can be accomplished with oil paintings, so I don't think it has anything to do with the medium that was used. It looks like the artist, we'll just call him Vladimir, it looks as if he had an idea and his goal that he was trying to accomplish was to visualize his imagination, to put it on paper and just to see it, for us to be able to see it. And I say that because there are a lot of different elements that kind of give this idea that there was different guidance for different concepts. Like the peacock, it looks totally like the instruction on how to do that peacock looks like different instruction from how he drew, or how the artist drew the humans. And then the humans in the peacock look different from the overall painting of what's going on and what I would consider the background. Just because I'm talking about observation, over where the man is, or where Adam is, there's this really odd, almost transparent kind of square looking figure that kind of looks like a window. I don't know what that is, but I see it, so I'm mentioning it. If you pay attention to the way that the man is standing in the photo, the arm that's behind him and the arm that's holding this plant or this flower, the diagonal line is aligned. It's almost as if the direction of the man is pointing towards the sun. And the way his body is leaning is pointing towards the sun. Now, something that I mentioned in the type up that I did, when I was just looking at it and answering the questions for my homework, the top of his hair, the top of the man's hair, it looks a lot like a snake. He's got like a strayaway here, and it looks like a snake, which would make me wonder if maybe the man isn't really Adam, because there's a disconnect. And I talked about this when I answered my questions in the homework. There's a disconnect between the man and the woman. And that's symbolized through the distance between them. There's not any intimacy in this. And as we know, Eve was Adam's wife. So the distance between them say one of two things to me. It either says that this is the moment that there was disconnect between the obedience that they should have been doing, the disobedience or the disobedient act that they actually committed. In argument and in disagree, usually, this is what I'm trying to say, there's disagreement. There's distance when there's disagreement between couples. So this could be Adam and Eve, or this could be the artist's idea that suggests that the serpent might have presented himself as Adam. I don't know. I'm not sure. Moving on to Eve over here. I also want to point out that the man has a green tint to him and the woman has a red tint to her. And then if you pay attention to this heel or this portion of the painting that she's sitting on, you see the apple in her hand. You see her breasts are perked, but I think that just has more to do with her nudity, because the guy is nude as well. It is not uncommon for religious works, especially as we head into the Renaissance, to portray nudity when explaining religious work. Now, I don't know how religious this work is, but it's called Adam and Eve, and we know the story of Adam and Eve. Eve looks like she's in a different location within the location. It looks like she's in a damned state, if I'm honest. What she's sitting on versus what Adam is standing on, one looks more miserable, which is Eve, while the other one looks more enchanted. Then there's lots of plants. We talk about the sun. I also feel like maybe that's a depiction of God. Because if you pay attention to the gradient effect around the sun, it gives an idea of a sunset. And then the decoration around the sun, Adam and Eve included, they're all cool tone colors, with the exception of this red area that Eve is sitting on. And it's giving the depiction that the sun is the focal point, while Adam and Eve, or the man and the woman, are the subjects. But everything is supporting the sun, which makes me feel like that sun, or that circular part right there, is supposed to represent God. Because the longer you stare at it, it looks kind of like you're looking into like a portal, right? It looks glorious. It looks illuminating. It looks like it's illuminating the scene here. And so because of my Christian knowledge, I would say that is the sun. But if I go back to this man's position and how he's directed towards the sun, I'm wondering if maybe this is deception. Like I said, he's got this straight piece of hair here that looks like a serpent. Eve looks ridiculously miserable. This man that's supposed to be Adam, he doesn't look miserable. He looks like he's holding a flower in the direction of the sun, and the sun is positioned with rays that are shining towards Eve. It's a couple things that we can pick apart here, but nonetheless, this is just what I see just by looking at it. I see a peacock over here. I have no idea who this peacock is. I see a dog. The longer I looked at it, looking at it now, I can now see a giraffe. that looks like it's supposed to be the depiction of the distance, but this like the distance of the garden or the distance of the location that they're at. But this is where I go into saying that there is no skill here, because I see the attempt to show other subjects or other forms in the distance, but it's not done in a way that a person with skill would do distance. And I feel like that's interrupted by the positioning of the circle or the sun or God or illumination or enlightenment or deception, whatever that circle is. That should have been smaller. And the positioning, I don't feel like it should have been rounded. But then again, like I said, a couple of things could be happening with the roundedness. Those 3 outer arches, like I said, could be the serpent coiling the situation. Because I don't see anything else. Those look like scales to me. But if taking all of that out of the situation, if this was going to look like the garden was more in the distance, that curved line or that contour line beneath the horizon line here, where the circle is, it looks like the horizon line divides this blue band in this circle here. That black line has to go. There needs to be smaller, ooh, my eyes itching, smaller forms of the trees, the animals, etc. in this blue area. And the tone needs to lighten as we're looking closer to the vanishing point or the focal point. Because here's the thing, that sun being right there as big as it is with this line, oh my gosh, oh my God, that looks scary now that I look at it. Looks like an eye. Oh wow, bro. The more I look at this, the more I see different things. I think that's what that is. That would explain that gives it a whole new meaning. Now I see the skill. Now I see the distance. I think that is the serpent. I wonder if I can get some information on it. That looks like an eye. Because my question is, what is the arches? And now that I look at the 3 arches above the circle, it doesn't look like, it looks like scales. That looks like, and if that's the case, now the light source, I see rays, but I don't see any shadows here where the peacock is. That's what that has to be. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this later. Like, I see it, but I see it now. But I can only see it from a distance. This changes the entire perspective. This is an interesting piece because from one angle, it looks like it has no skill. It looks like just a flat image, freestyled, cool tones here, like we see them. But then from another angle, I see the distance. I see it now. I see it, but it looks like an eye of a serpent looking in on them. That's what that looks like. From afar, though, you can't see that up close. I still see the sunset. Okay, we're gonna have to relook at this tomorrow.